Hey Blade fans, welcome back, and especially Pikal folding knife fans. You may not even know what that is, but you do if you do, for sure. OG Blade reviews with you. And I've got a special knife to show you today. This is one of several sent to me by DC Blades. And in particular, Justin, I want to thank you so much. We chat a lot on Instagram, and it lets me know about all the cool new stuff that they design, and they have tons of new designs out. This one being one of them, relatively new. It's been shown elsewhere. I know Bob DeMarco has got some samples as well. This one, I don't have a legit box for it. I think Justin just used an AM8, or I should say, what is it now? Well, AM8, we'll say. Miguron is what I wanted to say. Miguron, AM8, kind of different divisions of the same company. The main company is Miguron. That's the OEM for DC Blades. And what do we have here? This is a really well set up Pikal knife. And I'm not sure if it was a collab. I think it's all DC Blades, but certainly a lot of influence from other designers. Dirk Pinkerton comes to mind because he has worked quite a bit on his folding Pikal design, which is referred to as the inversion. And I'll show you a prototype of that in just a moment. Anyway, this falls into the under $100 or budget line of knives, believe it or not. This is 14C28N. We got a black coating. I believe it's either Cerakote or PVD. I'm not 100% sure. I should have just looked on their site, because this one at the moment, and again, this is a moment in time, appears to be out of stock. Sold out, but I know they're getting more. This is the Mark II. That's what they refer to it as. And no other names than that. There is the AM8 branding, which is really Miguron. There's the DC Blades branding. And let's take another look at it. Excuse me. It is a bar locking knife, aka axis lock. And it's designed to open right out of the pocket with that feature right there, which they are not calling a wave feature. It's not really a wave feature such as is done with Emerson knives. Justin had a name for it, direct control or something like that. I think it uses the same initials as the name of the company, DC. Okay, so that's your DC opener there. If I want to, I can roll it open with the thumb. And you didn't hear it click or anything, because that is kind of a soft detent, not detent, that we have with the axis type lock there. We've got a clip that's a bit different than some of the other clips on the DC Knives series. And I don't think that's going to change, but this is, I'm not sure if it's one of his original Pikal openers, certainly not the original, which is the Scythe, and I'll show that in a moment for compare. But let's take a look at all the features of this knife. So obviously it can open beautifully that way, using that, I call it a rooster comb, because when you look at the Indonesian Pikal knives, they have the rooster comb there. Actually, the karambit knives have that kind of rooster comb on top there. We've got some very sharp, I don't know, not really sharp, well-defined jimping right in that groove there. We've got more here built into the liner, and we've got some more built into the ring, which serves as a backspacer as well, kind of all in one. What I love absolutely love about this orientation is that that ring comes almost directly off the side of the knife. So often we have knives with rings that stand up on the end of the knife, and usually what happens, whether it's a Pikal knife or whether it's a karambit, is it ends up angling the knife. Let me see if I can back out a little more. Kind of cramped. There we go. Ends up angling the knife. So ideally, that's the approach we want. I think I still have my little foam block over here. So we want the knife to enter the target, and you can use your imagination as to what the target is, this way, okay? Not hitting the blunt top spine of the blade. Now, I've been through this all before in one of the other Pikal knives I just did a review on from DC Blades, but you get the idea, which is we're thrusting this knife in a forward direction, whether this way or downward, and its first point of entry is here, and then it cuts downward, or you pull. Very often used in a trapping kind of a scenario, where you block with the forearm or tap with the forearm and pull down to trap the arm. Without getting into too much martial technique, that's the main idea, okay? So the point here is beautifully set up, being straightforward, you see? Straightforward, in line with the handle. So the axis of the handle and the point of the blade, pretty much forward. There are some other knives that raise it up a bit more. I think one of them is the fixed blade that I did the review on from DC Blades. And that's set, way up high here. This one, I would say, is ideal. And we've got a perfect groove here for the middle finger. And then the two remaining fingers have plenty of room on the handle. It's a small knife, but you've got tons of room on the handle with the index finger being occupied here. Also, there's your persuader. That is also extremely well positioned for a jab or a punch. So you've got that going for you as well. Now the frag handle here is aluminum, and it is layered on top of a hidden steel frame. Just really, really nicely done. Is it a fidgety knife? Well, it's not going to be a fidgety knife, guys. It's not going to be like some of your other axis locks or liner locks, back flippers, or what have you. The main thing with this guy is to get it open and get it into use. So the perfect way to do that, and this clip, by the way, is transferable to the other side. So the ring is available above the line of the pocket, as you can see, and you pull up. This grabs the front part of the pocket, and that snaps open. And there you are. Actually, my bad. I'm going to get you all confused here. So the knife with the pocket clip on that side for the right side would go down in the pocket there. You would be pulling it backwards and open it with those two notches there. That means your finger pulling the knife out is already in the hole, and you just need to grab it there. So sorry about that. It's a bit confusing trying to show you this under the camera and kind of get it right at the same time. Some measurements very quickly here, because I'm taking up a lot of time with other BS. 7 inches overall. And we've got a blade of 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches, sharpened edge of 2.5. 2.5 inches sharpened edge. Bring out the calipers here. Blade stock in millimeters. Medium, 3.4. Handle thickness, millimeters, 11.7. Inches, blade stock, 0.12 inches, handle thickness, 0.46, so well under a half. And if I didn't give you metric, guys, the length, you're probably wondering why I didn't. Let's give you the length in millimeters, or centimeters probably. Yeah, so we've got 17, we'll call it 18 centimeters. Okay, 18 centimeters overall. Not sure if I'll ever get used to that. Too old to change. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know, maybe you can. What do we got? Grams. Starting off in grams. The weight is 96.5 grams. In ounces, it's only 3.053 ounces. So it's an ounce per inch. Right in there. Question being, what do we have for a factory edge? And with these specialty type knives, you're not always going to need a fine edge. It's a ripping edge, but it's decent. It's okay. Not meant for slicing your tomatoes. It's meant for this. And with for that, it is definitely going to do the job. So let's get the Mark II out there and show you the original knife that DC Blades designed that was a top seller on Amazon. I think it was their #1 new release or something like that on Amazon. Amazing. The Shield and Scythe. And so here you can see what I was talking about with tip orientation. I'm glad they moved on to this tip orientation. I would have liked to have seen this raised a little bit more, but it is what it is, and it might have changed everything else about the knife had they done that. It is an extremely lightweight knife with G10 and a wire clip, and it is extremely small, very pocketable, and yet you can still get all 4 fingers on the handle. Here is something from Kubi called the Rogue Pikal, designed by Muzi, also 14C28N. This one, by the way, 154 cm, so you're going to bump up in steel on that guy. And there are other versions of this Shield and Scythe. Notice that it's not branded on DC Blades. This is DC Blade branded. And we do have a little bump up in the steel, as you said. So this is the Rogue Pikal, designed by Muzi. Couple of reasons I don't really care for it is I've got some handle left over here. Well, if you've got really large hands, you'll love it. But again, there's that point down rather than point forward. So if you imagine your stroke being this way, it's fine. If you imagine your stroke going in and pulling down, then what's happening, and again, I don't want to get too redundant here. I did this on another video. What you have going forward is, I am not saying that this isn't going to penetrate. I'm just saying it could be a little better. So yeah, actually it's not too bad. It depends upon when you put your finger through the ring where you end up. Now I can stuff my fingers in there without the ring, or I can hold the ring and I'd have to get way back here to raise that point, but notice it's still pointing down. So not ideal, but still a devastating, devastating kind of a knife for sure if it catches a hold of you. Here is one from Civivi, kind of similar in concept to the, and I should say this is, I brought this out, this is the incisor, and I'm a bit off on the fact that that's actually a karambit. So the incisor by Civivi, and that is a karambit, so really doesn't apply to today. I think since some of these knives are looking so much like karambits, I got a bit distracted when I pulled them out for review. So we're going to put that aside for now, but that is the incisor by Civivi. Here we have another DC Blades offering, and this is the, what is this? Vendetta. This is an upscale knife. This is in M390, also by AM8 Miguron. And this is nicely set up. No ring on this one, right? But also really nicely set up. I'm still thinking that we're near ideal on the Mark II, because if you take a hard look at these, and I line the handles up, that, well, they're about the same. You know, I can't really nitpick too much there. Holds beautifully. It's got that bird's beak handle on the end. You can pull that up out of your pocket very easily, and it does have a wave type opening feature there, very prominent. You can take that off and you can front flick it if that's your jive. Your jibe, your thing. So I do like it. It is pretty much lined up. A lot of the orientations changed once you put it in the grip, by the way. But I would say this is slightly more ideal than this guy, but we're not very far off. M390 blade, we got this wild white and black carbon fiber. I think it is a fat carbon, not 100% sure. And I got one more to show you, which is from Dirk Pinkerton. This is actually a prototype of his inversion. It's gone through a lot of different changes. Notice we got a bent metal clip on this one that is actually adjustable because of the 3 holes. So that can go up as high as to, let's see, I'm using the top 2 holes there, as high as being flush with the handle, or a bit lower if you prefer that. There's been a lot of modifications since, but essentially this is still the inversion that he is now selling. This is his Econo version with the G10 scales. He's got a premium version, and I believe M390 or 20CV with the ring on it, titanium handle and whatnot. And his ring comes out the side the same way that the DC Blades does. I believe there was some influence there from Dirk, but that's my assumption. Anyway, this guy is near perfect with that point forward and less of a curve, if you notice, than these others. All right, a little bit less of a recurve in here than we have on the Mark II. So there you have it. Let's get them all in line here. Let's see if we need to even anything up and maybe back out just a tad. There we go. So yeah, they all look like they're upside down knives. This may not be your jam, but you know, it's a specialized knife. I didn't say that at the beginning, but you guys know that Pikal is a specialized knife. You may get a little bit of utility out of it. You know, knives such as Dirk's, you can hold this way. And actually, it's fairly handy in having that point up and edge forward rather than the inverse, which is point down, edge in. Right about now, there is my logo over there. Click on it if you haven't subscribed. I say this all the time. Looking for new subscribers, you guys. So if you're not subscribed, by doing so, you will be notified of new vids when they drop. Be well, take care, stay safe.